If you have ever looked at your 9 to 5 and gone, no, I don't want to spend the rest of my life that way. Maybe today's video is for you, but I quit my 9 to 5, I think 3 summers ago. The summer I quit my 9 to 5. And there's no looking back. There's no looking back, bestie. I have been self-employed for a couple years now, and before that, I was self-employed, but always working another job. It was my side hustle, and I'm now 28 years old. I fully work for myself, and honestly, it's been pretty darn awesome. But there are some positives, obviously, and there are some hard truths. And today I wanted to kind of share those with you in case you have ever thought about being self-employed or running your own business. This is the tea on what it takes, what it looks like, and what you need to know before you jump in to being a business owner, I guess, in your mid-20s. So I have been a business owner now for 12 years. It's always been on the side of something else until about 3 summers ago when I went full-time for myself. So I'm here to give you all the tea, the scoop on what it's like to run your own business as a 20-something-year-old, but also maybe some advice if you are looking to be an entrepreneur, if you're trying to work for yourself one day, or maybe you are but want to scale. This video is for you. So let's do it. Let's jump in. Okay, so obviously I need to preface by talking a little bit about what I do, just so you're aware. If this is your first video on my channel, hi, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Press the subscribe, the like, the comments, do what you need to do so that you can stay in this community. But my name's India. Obviously, the channel's India and stuff. You know that. That wasn't a surprise. But what might be a surprise is that I own a photography business. I personally do my own work under that brand, but I also have a team of associate photographers who will go and photograph sessions or weddings on my behalf. So it's me plus a team. I also at one point owned a clothing line called Blue Hour. So fun. I don't know if anyone remembers that. That was just a very brief blip in my timeline of being an entrepreneur and something that I'm not closed off to trying again down the line. I also started a business several years ago called Bohio. It was like party rentals. So if you wanted decor, specifically boho style decor for a bridal shower or a baby shower or your rehearsal dinner, we could provide all those things from vintage rugs and hard to find peacock chairs to luxury dried florals, tablescapes, all that stuff. So I've definitely always had an entrepreneurial mind about myself, but the one that has profited the most and made for a sustainable life for me has been photography. So currently that is my main job. That is what I do to make money. I am my own boss in that realm so that I can also find time to do stuff like this, like make videos for you guys, which profits me $0. Okay. It's just for the fun. It's just for the fun. And it's just so that you can have something cute to watch. But it's a lot of fun being your own boss. And there's a lot of perks that come with it. Obviously, some of the first big ones are you get to set your own hours. Most days, I probably wake up between 7 and 8-ish. Only recently have I started waking up a little bit earlier. It used to be I would sleep until probably like 9:30 most days, but that's also because I stay up pretty late till like 1 or 2. But yeah, usually I sleep in and I'll get up and do a workout class. I'll come home, I'll eat some food, and then I'll get started at work by around 9:30 or 10. And that's really nice. It's really nice to be able to say, oh, I want to go and work early today. Awesome. I'm done at noon. Cool. I'll push the rest to tomorrow. Great. It's great to be able to be flexible and grab lunch in the middle of the day with my husband or a friend, or if someone comes into town to be available for that. Setting your own hours has been such a blessing. It's a lot of fun for me in this stage where I don't have any kiddos, but I can imagine as, if you're your own boss and you have children, that would be a game changer for most working parents. So it is a huge win on that front. Also, you get to set your own vacation days. That is one of my favorite things about this. I didn't count, but off the top of my head, I know we went to Los Angeles for a week last year, Europe for 3 weeks, and I think we did like a small family vacation for at least like 4 or 5 days. So right there, we're already looking at like 5 weeks-ish off from just 2024. And it's not like all of those days were fully soaking in the sun, drinking mojitos on the beach, right? A lot of those days when I like have them off, I'm also editing, working. It's for a work trip. Maybe I'm, shooting a wedding in a different state or something. And so I could pull out my laptop, but I also get to like sit next to a pool and pull out my laptop. You know what I mean? So the vacation days can pretty much be whatever you want, whenever you want, as long as you don't have a prior work engagement. So that's a huge win. A lot of our friends here in the States get maybe 2 weeks vacation days a year. Maybe. And I just don't think we're supposed to live like that. Okay, you can also get unlimited salary potential. This was a huge motivator for me. I worked at a job prior to being my own boss for about 3 years. And I know we're not supposed to talk about money. I know it's taboo. But the max salary after 3 years that I convinced my, employers to pay me was $40,000. But the thing is, it was like a ministry position, so you had to like support raise half your salary. So from their expense, it was half of that. So $21,000. Yay! And we can get into that on another day. I'm not mad or anything. It kind of comes with the territory of working in like a nonprofit world. But I was doing like 4 people's jobs. And so at some point you go, hey, wait a second. I'm capped at taking maybe $42,000 home at the end of the year. However, when I'm my own boss, I can make 6 figures in a calendar year, maybe more than that. And not that, it's as easy as that, but it is really, really incentivizing to kind of go, hey, money's not, the only thing I'm living for, but gosh darn, is it nice to like actually have room to not be beneath the poverty level, if I'm working this hard. So that's a big incentivizer too. Another perk, you can employ your friends. If they're qualified, even if they're not, I guess you can train them. But this has been an unexpected blessing about being my own boss. I got to hire a friend of mine for several months last year while she needed work. She was my virtual assistant for like 6 months during my busiest season, which helped me so much. There's been other seasons where I've been able to hire my friends who do freelance copywriting, social media work, meta ads, things like that. I've also been able to kind of train some of my friends in photography and include them as second shooters, get to pay them and help them kind of grow in their portfolio, which is so much fun. Also, full disclosure, there was a season where I was stressed by like every little tiny minute thing, like packing up the gift boxes that I send my clients. So I hired my brother. I think I paid him like $50 to like sit on the floor with me and help package stuff and take it to the post office. Sorry, y'all. I had a little coughing fit. Okay, let's get back to it. Where's my phone? When you like forget that you should be drinking water and then you're in the middle of recording a very informational YouTube video for your 120 listeners and then you have a coughing fit? Relatable. I get it. Another perk of owning your own business is that you can say yes or no to whatever projects you want. Yes, there's a reality of like, you want to probably take as many projects as you can to pay the bills. But once you kind of figure out the right model that works for you, especially as a service-based business, if a project comes along that does not excite you or just feels draining or it's just not really aligned with your goals, you can just say no. And that's kind of nice. I feel like when you work with someone else, sometimes you'll get a project and you're like, oh my gosh, like this is just nothing that I want to spend my time doing. You don't have to do it anymore, bestie. And that is a huge perk. Another perk, you can work with your spouse or loved ones. Now, again, it might go into qualifications. Does it need to happen? But like, let's say you're opening a product-based business, okay? Let's say you're opening a juice shop in a cute part of town and you need some people to help stock the shelves. Great. Call up your best friend. See if they can come over. Pay them a little bit. Pay them a lot of it, whatever you need to do. Like you can employ your friends and then you can spend more time with them and kind of make it a family or friend affair, which is a lot of fun. Now, this one only works for certain business structures, but another perk tends to be that you can work kind of wherever you want, at least on some tasks, right? I'm a photographer that does weddings primarily. So if my wedding is in Ohio, I cannot just go work on that same day in Kalamazoo. But if my wedding is in Ohio and then that Monday through Friday, I have no other projects, I can pack my laptop up. I can go to a beach resort in St. Augustine, Florida, and I can sit there for the week, margarita in hand, editing photos, answering emails, doing what I need to do to move the needle without physically having to be in my home or at an office. Again, not everyone is like that. I know some businesses, especially if it's a brick and mortar, if you're showing up and you have to physically be there, there'll be seasons where that probably could not happen at all. But everyone has admin tasks. Everyone has those kind of office related things we have to do. I would say romanticize it. Get yourself a hotel room. Even if you just take yourself out to a coffee shop or a bar, work somewhere that's not in your house or at the office. And it makes it feel so much more freeing than having to be chained to a desk. Good gravy. I hope my voice comes back. Okay, and another huge perk is you can find new friends and networks with business owners in them. That is so much fun to kind of be a part of this little community of crazy entrepreneurs, people who are risking things, people who are doing things differently. You'll find a lot of comfort and community in that, in a world where you're probably used to being the odd one out, the black sheep of your area, and maybe the crazy one with the dream. I guarantee you there are other people like you out there, and it is so refreshing to kind of find those folks and nestle in because you guys are, kin in thought, and it's really cool to have that friendship. Kin in thought? Is that like a phrase? Who knows? All right, obviously I just shared all of the positives about being your own boss. However, there's some other truths to owning your own business that also need to be mentioned so that you don't think that wow, this is the dream. I'm going to go quit my job tomorrow. Okay. The other things that are true, you will end up working way more hours than you did at your last job. I don't care what your last job was. If you were a waitress, if you were a manager and you worked 80 hours a week, I guarantee you somehow you'll find a way to work more working for yourself. Okay, it just happens. I don't know why or how, but it does. And I think part of it is being passionate about what you do. And when your name is attached to something, when it's your dream and you're the boss, then you are in charge of making that ship go. And it will really, really push you to care for it and make sure that it works, because no one wants to go out on a limb, be their own boss, start their own business, and then know that the only reason it's not working is because they are not putting enough hours and manpower behind it, right? So you're going to do what it takes, which means you're probably going to work a lot more. And it shouldn't be that way every season. I have healthy workflow tips, but it probably will be for a lot of time. You will also struggle with work-life balance, a ton. Again, like I said, when we travel, some people view that as vacation 24/7. Not true. 9 times out of the 10, if we're taking a trip or traveling, there's work attached to it, even if it's just we're going to edit in some space that's different. Usually we have a shoot to do or a film set to be on or content to create, even if it's for our own profiles, it's still work related. So there's a lot going on that means that a vacation doesn't often feel like just a vacation. There's pressure, there's photos that need to be taken, there's files that need to be delivered, and it can get a little fuzzy when we're trying to just fully rest. Same with a normal weeknight. It's really hard to put down the computer and stop editing when it doesn't make much of a difference to me if Netflix is on and I'm either watching or Netflix is on and I'm watching, but I'm also editing. Does that make sense? It's hard sometimes to set things down and just get on with real life because your work is so ingrained with what you want to do with your life that it kind of comes with you wherever you go. Why is my voice all crazy? Okay, trying again. You will have to pay for things entirely out of pocket that used to be covered by an employer. Things like your overhead business expenses, insurance, health insurance, business insurance, liability insurance, car insurance was a normal one, phone bill, all that stuff. Retirement savings contributions, taxes, all of it. All of it comes out from your business account or your personal account at this point. And for some people, that's expected. If you're jumping into entrepreneurship, you're owning your own business, maybe you're a whiz at taxes and bookkeeping and you knew that going into it. But most people are probably going to be like, oh, wait, I didn't even think about that. When you have a normal, salaried employer job, typically they're putting a percentage to the side for your retirement fund. They're holding back tax money so that when tax season rolls around, you don't have to do anything. Your taxes have already been taken out. When you work for yourself, usually you're the one that has to decide to do quarterly tax payments, paying them outside of the income you receive. And then your yearly tax payments, making sure all of those ducks are in a row. Same thing, health insurance, no one's taking that money out for you. That's on you, and it does add up, and it gets a little freaky sometimes. So just be prepared for that as well. You'll have seasons where business is exploding and your books are full or products are flying off your shelves. And you'll also have seasons so dry where you do not know where your next paycheck is coming from, where your next sale is coming from. And that can send you into a little bit of a panic. It's not fun. It's not pretty all the time, okay? Most likely you'll miss out on life events, whether you are a service-based or product-based business owner. It's just going to happen. Birthdays, celebrations, holidays, all of it because of your work. Now, again, if you're a master at work-life balance, maybe that doesn't happen for you. Maybe you know exactly when you clock in and clock out, and you've got all your birthdays, all your holidays blocked off so that there is no way that you touch an email or ship something or have a product or a wedding photography shoot. You're good, right? That's probably not the case, though. For most business owners, there is a holiday, a birthday, a celebration that they will be missing or working on. And for some, that's okay. It might just take an hour or 2 hours away from the celebration. But I mean, we just missed a first birthday party because we were traveling for work. We missed, our friends had a baby recently and we had a wedding the same weekend, so we couldn't really go and visit or take them a meal. We've missed countless holidays, a lot of 4th of Julys. We're always like gone on the 4th of July. We missed Thanksgiving last year because we were in Paris doing a shoot for our own portfolios. We're going to miss Thanksgiving again this year for a similar reason. So it's just interesting that, you kind of paint this picture of being an entrepreneur, meaning that you'll have all this free time and your life will just perfectly be balanced and, you'll be finally free of that 9 to 5. But there are some things about the 9 to 5, like having for sure holidays off, having for sure weekends blocked, that is kind of nice to know that like when you're in that structure, that's a for sure thing and you can plan around that. You might find yourself isolated or unrelatable to the people around you, especially if you're younger. I found that when I first started my business at 15 and 16 years old, I was like a fish out of water. Like I saw a couple young entrepreneurs around me in their late teens, early 20s. But other than that, I was pretty alone in that endeavor. When I did it in college, I felt much more surrounded by creatives, but it's because I went to a creative college. And now as a 28-year-old, I feel like I found my footing. I know so many people in their 20s that own their own businesses, so many in their 30s and 40s that do the same. The world feels much more ready for entrepreneurship now. But the younger you are starting a business, and depending on where you live and your community around you, odds are it can feel really sticky at times or just really unrelatable. And I will say, even though we are, a little more established in our communities and we don't feel alone on the entrepreneurial front, a lot of our close church friends and family, a lot of the people in our life, family members, don't really understand what we do or don't get it. And that's okay. It's okay if you're, not fully known truly in like what you do. As long as you find that community somewhere, I think that matters a lot. But I understand the feeling that it can feel a little lonesome when you have to repeat what you do or re-explain it for the 18th time, or somebody like still doesn't quite understand what you do. I think last I checked, one of my family members still thinks that I paint pictures in a church basement. I'm like, nope, I run a photography company and education, system. But it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. We just move on. You will have to learn and relearn so many new skills, and it'll surprise you and it'll be beautiful and it'll be challenging. And there'll be times where you're like, I was not born to do this. And there'll be times where you're like, I'm so dang impressed with myself. I just did that. For example, for at least me, I was just trying to list out all the different softwares I've had to learn and relearn. And I'm putting them in somewhat chronological order. In my time being a photographer, I have had to learn PicMonkey, PicTime, Pixlr, Adobe Bridge, Adobe Lightroom CC, Adobe Classic Lightroom, Aftershoot, Adobe Photoshop, Adobe InDesign, Adobe Premiere, Adobe Illustrator, CapCut, InShot, the entire Google suite, the entire Microsoft suite, HoneyBook, Wix, Squarespace, Shopify, Pixie Set. The list goes on, right? Those are just some of the softwares that I've had to learn. Then it gets updated, then you relearn it. Then you stop using it anymore, then you buy a different software. Then you got to learn that one. It happens all the time, and that's not a unique thing for me being in a photography field. I think every business owner has to like understand a new software, learn a new system, log into it, figure all the things out. Where does everything go? What's the interface look like? How does it function? And that's just to do the normal task at hand, right? That's nothing usually special. That's not including learning and mastering all the different social medias, YouTube, Instagram, Pinterest marketing, like Facebook groups, all these different things we have to do to like promote our business. That's just the bare bones on like making a website, doing your actual work. You know, it gets to be a lot sometimes. You'll second guess yourself more often than you thought, even if you're confident in what you offer. I think oh, I just zoned out because it says after that sentiment, babies, etc. What does that mean? But I remember where my thoughts were. Okay. When you are an entrepreneur, I think sometimes other things that are somewhat like normal to 9-to-5ers kind of like maybe don't take as much priority. I might be wrong, but I feel like since I work for myself, I feel like I don't have a ton of time to just jump into like having children or being a part of a mom club or, you know, any kind of other community things at the moment, because most of my time is taken up by sustaining my business, right? So sometimes you'll second guess, like, is this the right course for me? Should I be doing something else with my life? Well, look at what that person's doing. And will they get to go travel the world with their business? So should I just pivot? Or well, that person's 9-to-5 gives them, you know, such a big salary that they got to buy a cooler house. And well, they're having their third kid and I haven't even had one kid yet. It's going to put you in that limbo because we are so accustomed to having a kind of groupthink mob mentality. And when we see one person doing something, we all kind of go along with it. Even if we know deep down in our core, it might not be right for us. And that's something beautiful that I think comes with entrepreneurship, is that reawakening and that urging of saying, you know what, even if it's not normal, even if no one around me like lives like this, I think I need to try this to like be the person that chases my passion beyond a 9-to-5. And there, again, there's nothing wrong with 9-to-5s. If that's working for you, if it is sustaining you and your family, if it's giving you that cash money and you are feeling like you're in the right spot, you don't have to change anything. But for those people who feel like, hey, I am okay if I don't have the giant mansion house when I'm 35. I think I'm okay delaying kids a little longer. I think I'd rather have more vacation days, more untapped potential, and more of my own pursuit of my work than to just be a cog in the wheel. I don't know. Okay. You'll struggle to stay focused. Maybe that's just because I have ADHD, but I don't know. Odds are you'll probably struggle to stay focused. You'll have to be the boss gal sometimes and hurt some people's feelings once in a while. Tell some people some hard truths. That's all right too. That comes with the territory. And you'll also have to get used to rejection. I cannot tell you how many times I've gotten a dream inquiry hitting into my inbox only to present them with my offers and then get told no. Or I've been interviewed on a podcast, or several podcasts actually at this point, and I get really excited about it coming out. I feel like this will be great PR. I'm really proud of what I said. And then the episode gets tanked, or for some reason it just flops and the whole show just like doesn't happen anymore. There's other rejections you'll receive, like going out on a limb, applying for a grant, or trying to be a part of a certain networking group. You'll get told no. You'll get hit with a paywall. Yeah, I mean, all of that happens in normal life too, but it does kind of feel like you don't have that safety net of saying, well, my boss really wants me to try this, or, you know, well, that's okay, I'll just return to the office. It's like, no, you're the face of the company and you're getting that rejection, and that can sting. So get comfy with it. Grow that thick skin. You're going to need it. And I know I kind of like complained a little. I kind of told you both sides of the coin here, but ultimately, like being your own boss is amazing, especially if you have the capacity to do it, I think, in your early 20s, early 30s. There is no time like the present to try. You can always be risky now, make it up later sort of thing. But at least in my experience, like being risky has paid off tenfold, especially if I had just stayed in my old job. I don't want to brag either, but I think in my first full year of being a self-employed entrepreneur, I made triple my salary from when I was employed at a 9 to 5. Okay. So that was helpful for me, right? And that's not going to be something that happens every year, but it is a beautiful thing to kind of say, hey, look, here's a great example of if I stayed where I was at, I really would not have progressed, at least in this area, much at all financially, right? But being able to transition to being my own boss paid off quite a lot. I got to try so many new things, travel to so many new places, and ultimately, like having these lived experiences to look back on, I feel so blessed that, I get to travel the world for my work while someone else has to sit at a desk. And it makes me feel sad too, because I'm like, please come with me. You'll get to find so many opportunities and unleash an entirely new creative part of yourself. You'll get to be exploratory in your work, let your ideas run wild. You'll find joy in making something meaningful for other people. Again, whether it's products or a service, like you are doing this, yes, to kind of like scratch the itch for yourself, but also because you believe in your art and your work and your ideas and it matters to someone else and you believe that they need them at a cellular level. And that is the kind of stuff that I think really shapes the world to be a really exciting place. And ultimately, you get to look back at this season of your life and be like, I did that. And that is something to be proud of. So I hope that this video has encouraged you. If you're thinking about being an entrepreneur, if it's something that's in your wheelhouse, let me know in the comments. If there's anything I can do, any advice I can give, drop a comment below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share this video if it was impactful for you or helpful. I really want to connect with more creatives. So this is what this is for. This is not just a place for me to yap. I want to hear from you. And this is something we can all do together. So let me know what you thought of this episode, and I will see you next time on the next episode of India and Stuff. Thanks for listening. Bye.